So in this video, I'm going to share with you exactly how to figure out what kind of content to create, so to have that kind of North Star, to know what direction to head in whenever you're sitting down and thinking about what kind of content should I actually create that will actually attract my ideal listeners to my podcast. Now, the number one advice I heard when I first started my podcast is the same advice you hear from all the gurus out there, which is to tell you to make sure you understand your listener avatar, right? They say, listener avatar, make sure you know exactly what job your listeners have. Make sure you know what breakfast they ate. Make sure you know what time they went to sleep at night. Know all these things about your listeners down to the exact details. And it was really overwhelming to me. Like, how am I supposed to know all of that? And I actually did kind of try to go on a hunt to figure out more of those kind of exact details about my ideal listener. And what I learned was that it's really hard to figure that stuff out, especially when you're just starting and you don't have that big of a following, that big of an audience yet. Now, the good news is that you actually do not need to know that at all. I found that was not a useful exercise at all. And there's actually a much simpler way to think about what kind of content to create for your podcast to attract your ideal listeners and your ideal clients, to get them to tune in to listen to your show. So the answer I'm going to ask you to answer for yourself is that all you got to do is answer this one question. What is the number one goal of your ideal listeners? Like, what is the number one goal that will bring them to your show? Think about that number one goal as a finish line on this super, super long road that they're on. Now, as they're walking down this journey, walking on this path towards that finish line, what are all the obstacles and the questions and the detours and the bridges they need to cross in order to reach this finish line? Every single time there's a detour, there's a question they need answered, there's a roadblock, there's a road repair going on, there's a bridge, there's a valley, a river they got to cross. It's an opportunity to create an episode helping them cross that part, helping them cross that bridge, helping them around that detour, helping them around that roadblock. Every single time there's that question that comes up in their head where they feel stuck along this journey, is an opportunity for you to come in and create a podcast episode, one single episode covering that one specific topic about that, whether it be you talking about how to answer that question or you interviewing experts, interviewing other people to help create valuable content to help them accomplish or figure out that exact problem that's on this path that they're on to that finish line. For example, let's say that you are a leadership coach, a leadership or executive coach, and the finish line that your ideal listeners, your ideal clients might be on is that they want their sales team to hit their goals better and better each year. That's the finish line they want to get to. What are all the obstacles that are stopping them along that way? What kind of problems might they face with their employees, their staff? What kind of problems that they need to face themselves along this path towards reaching that goal? Or maybe you're a relationship coach, right? You're helping people with their marriages, and the finish line for your clients, if you're a relationship coach, is that they want a more intimate relationship with their spouse, a stronger relationship with their spouse. What are all the problems and obstacles along the way for them to hit and to accomplish and overcome along this journey? Create episodes specifically for that problem. Now, the reason why this is a better perspective, better way to think about what kind of content to create is because it doesn't matter where they're coming from. It doesn't matter their demographic. It doesn't matter what their job is. It doesn't matter their age. For example, my podcast has people from all over the world for different ages, from 18 years old to 70 years old listening in, from people that are working on their business full time, to people working on a part-time, working 2 days, working 2 jobs and trying to fund their Shopify business. So it doesn't matter what their background is, what their demographic is. The only important thing, the most important thing, is that their goal at the end of the day is to start a business, and then all the problems they face along the way behind things like logistics, shipping, creating products, marketing, social media, all these things are in the way along their path towards the finish line of starting a successful e-commerce Shopify business. So I create episodes covering each and every single one of those problems, knocking them out along the way. And that is how I think about how to create content. That is how I make sure I'm always answering the right questions along the way to create the right kind of content to attract my ideal listeners. And I credit a lot of this thinking to helping me reach 1.5 million downloads in a year. Now, the best thing about this is that if you're constantly solving problems for them or teaching them about problems that they're going to face and helping them solve and think about it ahead of time, they're going to stick to you like glue. You are their right-hand man, right-hand woman along this journey on this path. And if you're solving problems for them, they're going to stick to you like glue. And that is how you attract the right listeners to your podcast. That's how you attract ideal listeners to your podcast. Hopefully that helps. Now, if you want more help, what I've done is set aside 45 minutes on my calendar for next week for you to get on a podcast strategy strategy call with me directly. And we'll talk about what your goals are with your business, what problems you might be facing, how we can use podcasting to help you accomplish your goals, how we can use podcasting, how we can use your podcast as it is today. If you have one, how to grow it, how to launch it if you don't have one yet. And there's absolutely no pressure to buy on this call. It's simply to figure out if we're going to be a good fit for each other or not. And if it is a good fit, it's something that you are interested in pursuing further, I'll tell you more about how all that works on the call. And again, no cost and no pressure at all. And worst case scenario, you walk away with more clarity on how to launch or grow your podcast to support your business, to attract your ideal customers and clients to your podcast. Again, it's a 45 minutes podcast strategy call, no cost. I set aside some slots this week. All you got to do is click the link to book your call today, and I'll talk to you soon.